There is an exhausting baseline operating in the background of modern society, the constant pressure to be flawless. When you try to curate a perfectly pure version of yourself, you don't actually eliminate your flaws, you just force them into hiding. A Lakota elder named Burt noticed this pattern years ago. Moral purity, you create a highly unstable psychological trap. The harder you pull toward perfection, the more tension you build, until a break becomes inevitable. Burt pointed to a specific example, the Catholic Church. In the wake of the sex abuse scandals, he saw what happens when human beings are forced to meet an impossible standard of complete spiritual purity. They fracture. He described the human psyche as a pendulum. Pull that heavy weight as far to the left and to the light as possible, building massive kinetic tension. Eventually, you lose your grip. It snaps free, swinging violently opposite, crashing into the dark. That violent counterswing is the shadow side acting out, often in ways that cause the very injuries the person was trying to avoid. Aiming for total light guarantees you are shoving your human flaws into the shadows, and those shadows always find a way back to the surface. So what is the alternative? Burt offered a different way of operating. Abandon the goal of absolute purity and aim for a 51% balance. This isn't about being half good. It's about maintaining a slight, steady bias toward the light, the margin required to keep your momentum moving forward. The remaining 49% is a conscious acknowledgement of your darker animal nature. By giving your shadow a defined, integrated space, it can breathe safely without building up the tension that causes a pendulum snap. 51% is the threshold. It is enough to keep you moving in a healthy direction without turning your own morality into a burden. This internal equilibrium changes how we interact with the outside world, specifically through a concept the Lakota call Wopila, the circle of reciprocity. Real reciprocity is not a transactional loop. You don't give a gift simply to ensure you get something back in return. Engaging in a genuine flow of energy with nature requires you to show up as your whole self, and you cannot bring your whole, honest self to that relationship if you're actively hiding half of your own humanity. Dropping the requirement of absolute purity is the first step. You have to admit you are a complex animal before you can become a whole participant in the natural world. This brings us out of the realm of sanitized ideals and onto the muddy way, a path that utilizes our 54 natural senses. These are an inherited range of biological signals, going far deeper than just sight or sound. It's about using every internal and external signal to navigate inevitable droughts and lean years. We see this enduring, imperfect homeostasis in places like the Saxon-Romanian village of Somartin. The resilience here doesn't come from clean lines and perfect moral records. It comes from learning to live with the dirt. Embracing this messy reality provides a buffer. It makes it easier to navigate the paralysis that hits perfectionists when encountering a complex problem. And this applies directly to how we handle modern bureaucracy. Because we aren't demanding absolute purity from ourselves, we can navigate mundane hurdles, lawyers, business licenses, and dense paperwork without feeling compromised. Participating in a flawed system doesn't corrupt your center with a baseline of 51% balance. The legal path continues. The Earthway path continues. Love continues. You do not have to be perfect. You only need to acknowledge your shadow, stay 51% decent, and keep the world turning.